Good afternoon, everyone, to
Good
another
afternoon.
session of EnPower. Today we will begin our session. So, Lisha, you could take it from there.
Yes, thank you, Nikita. Would you like to wait for a few more participants or should we just begin?
Let's wait then. We have very few right now. So,
Yeah, and maybe in the meanwhile, you can take questions if any, Lisha.
Yes, if any, I see a few familiar names, so if any of you have questions, because we've planned the session for those who haven't attended it in the previous week. So if any of you have questions, we can address this.
I think I see Pallavi being the only constant from the last session. Hi, Pallavi. Did we have
Hi.
Bhavna and Dia, Rashmi and Swati in our previous sessions?
No, ma'am. This is my first session.
All
And,
right, all right.
could you
Please
please
Okay.
give an introduction of?
Amazing. Yeah, so Lisha, actually, in the meantime, I guess we can just go through a quick round of introduction while we wait for the others to join.
Okay, sure. Okay, so my name is Lisha. Kanika's here with me as well. We're from EnPower. So what we normally do is we train a lot of teenagers, children with this entrepreneurial mindset. We also train them in things like design thinking, ideation techniques, and all of these things. Lots of exciting things that we do. This is a little bit about what we do. In today's session, we're going to have again lots of exciting things, hopefully lots of new things that you haven't encountered before. And we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, and we're going to talk about all about this entrepreneurial mindset, how to come up with an entrepreneurial idea. That's basically what we're going to cover in today's session. Do you have any questions for me? Have you come into the session with certain doubts or clarifications that you might need? Anything you're looking forward to? What are you eager to learn? You can share that with us. Before we begin, I'd love to have that dialogue with all of you and understand, what is it that you're expecting from this session?
Yes. Hello, Lisha. This is Swati here from Chennai.
Hi,
And
Swati.
yeah. Um, well, giving a small introduction about me. I have been working for government and
Hmm.
I have experience of 5 to 6 years, and from past more than 6 years, I have been training graduates. I have started my own coaching institute where I guide students for higher education and things like that. But I am stuck in one place where I wanted to launch something which is like management training, and which is reaching so many graduates and big shots, big organizations. So I expect this session to guide me to where to start, and see, I can understand there is a lot of opportunities for starting something for startups, and government is supporting through so many platforms, and all those things are there. But I am in need of a guidance where I can have a step by step approach, and someone who already did this, who have experience of giving it a shot, exploring the ways how to start something. So I want that guidance. I am in need of such support. So
Okay.
yeah, this
Okay.
is
So what you can also do, no, ma'am, is that you can share in this in our chat box. We'll make a note of it. In today's session, mainly what we're going to do is we're going to help you build a perspective on whatever you want to start. How can you go about these things? So we're going to give you a perspective. We're going to teach you how to look at the situation, and hopefully that will broaden your horizon and get you to a conclusion or a solution for what you're looking for. So that's what we're going to do. Towards the end, if you still have queries, we'll address those queries. This entire session will be held in two parts. Today we will cover one part of the session, and when we meet again on Friday is when we're going to cover the next part of the session. So hopefully by the end of the session, this is able to answer a lot of questions that you've come up with. But I'm very glad that you all have come with questions, and you've already come up with, certain ideas that you're already thinking about. So that will help you even as you go through the session, because you can apply this to your own ideas and what you'd like to create. So that's awesome. Thank you for, just sharing what you're expecting from the session. Anyone else?
Hi, Lisha.
Hi.
Hi, Lisha. This is Rashmi, and I'm from Delhi. I just want to give a brief introduction of myself.
Sure.
I was a teacher. I was a pre-primary teacher. I worked there in one of the best school of Delhi for 7 years.
Okay.
My kids reach at career deciding phase, then I quit the job. And then I have joined Aspire for her, and I have done this cloud computing. And now I am writing technical blogs. Those who want to make their career in cloud. And now next year I am going to turn 50. At the age of 50, I am planning to start my startup in digital solutions. So I am looking forward. How can I have set the target for me.
Correct.
For the till next year, I have to settle my startup. So I joined this session for your tips and tricks so I can implement it, and I can do it successfully.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Rashmi. That's lovely. And, we're hoping that this session is really helpful. We're going to start off. I think we should begin with this session because I'm also very eager to take you through this entire session, because we are going to, deal with a lot of internal conflicts. We're going to deal with a lot of internal fears that we even have before we start. We're then going to talk about, how can we come up with an entrepreneurial idea? If we already have one, how can we tweak that idea? How can we improve on that idea? Okay, so are we all good to begin? Yes.
Yeah,
Also hoping to keep this session interactive. So if you're shy and you don't want to unmute and speak, that's fine. You can drop your responses in the chat box. I will through the session look and read the chat box as well. Okay, but I think we're all good to begin. Okay, Kanika, can you please share your screen with us?
Sure, give me a second, please.
Yes. In the meanwhile, as Kanika is sharing, what is your idea of entrepreneurship? Who according to you is an entrepreneur? Of course, we will discuss it in the session also, but I just want to understand from you, who according to you is an entrepreneur? Yes.
Turning your ideas into reality.
Okay. Awesome. Somebody who turns their ideas into reality, and it's a risk. So in a way, they're taking risks. That's beautiful. Anybody else? Yeah, anyone else? Who according to you is an entrepreneur? Because all of you are budding entrepreneurs now. So in your eyes, for you, who is an entrepreneur?
Who wants to provide solutions to issues or problems or service to the community with their ideas coming forward.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, that's beautiful. Somebody who wants to contribute in some way to society, somebody who wants to provide solutions, very important. So that's amazing. So in today's session, I'm very quickly going to take you through an outline of what we're going to cover in the 2 sessions. Okay, Kanika, can we have the slide with the outlines? In today's session, we're going to talk about why should I even come up with an idea? Okay, since we're talking about building an entrepreneurial idea, today we'll start off by talking about why should I even come up with an idea? I'm sure a lot of us find it exciting, but somewhere we're still wondering, why should I do this? Is this important? What is the relevance of it? So we're going to talk about why should I come up with an idea. We're going to talk about how should I come up with an idea. Okay, what are some of the ways that I can actually think about building an idea? And we're going to cover what should I do. What should I do now that I have thought about my idea? How can I practically execute it? What should I do? And on Friday, when we meet for the second part of the session, we will look at more practical steps towards how will I build this idea and what will I finally do. Okay, so this is just a broad outline for what we're going to do. Let's dive in and start talking about why should I come up with an idea. Before we even start by, to answer the question, before we begin answering this question, on this journey of building an entrepreneurial idea, there are often certain reactions that we have or roadblocks that we suffer. Before I get to that, I want to ask you, what are some of the things that, inhibit you from moving forward? What are some of the fears that you have or the inhibitions that you have on your journey of coming up with an idea or on this entrepreneurial journey? What are some of the things that hold you back?
Risk.
Risk? Is that what you said, ma'am? Yes, definitely. Okay. Just the fear of, taking a risk. What if it does not work out? What if I lose out on so much in the bargain? Absolutely. What else?
Failure.
Yes. Failure. None of us want to fail. So we're thinking about, what if I fail? The fear of failure. Awesome. Yeah. Anyone else? Bhavna, Akansha.
Funds, team.
Okay, we think about funds, we think about resources, we think about, are we capable of handling all of this? Okay, awesome. Anybody else? Dia, Ashwarya?
Yes. How to start in the building ground means how to start the thing.
Okay, some sort of, maybe we don't know, so there's uncertainty or confusion or doubt about how to begin, where to begin. All right, anything else that is running through your mind? Bhavna, Akansha, Ashwarya?
Lack of experience and knowledge.
Okay, so you feel like, okay, we may lack the experience and knowledge, so then like a tendency to doubt yourself?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, thanks for being open. Anybody else?
Akansha has a great point. She says doubt about the idea.
Okay, yes, definitely. Okay, that can be something that will keep us, we feel like this is not good enough, maybe I shouldn't do it, right? Okay, great. Kanika, can we have the next slide? So exactly what you've said are the, we can combine it into three main reactions or fears that we have when we think about an idea. Okay, Swati also says lack of experience and clarity. These three main reactions, the first one is reluctance. We all feel like, why should I come up with an idea? I don't know how to go about it. What is the point of it? What is the relevance of what I'm doing? So why should I even come up with an idea? The other reaction of fear that we have is self-doubt. Am I really capable of coming up with an idea? Do I have the knowledge, the expertise, the experience to come up with an idea? So we'll doubt ourselves. And the third thing, which all of you have rightly again identified, is fear of failure. One very important thing in entrepreneurship is that entrepreneurs are risk takers, right? And so what will keep them from doing that sometimes is just the fear of failure, embarrassment. What if I fail? What's going to happen? Right? So these are the three main reactions that we have. We're going to first deal with each of these reactions so that we can freely then embark on this entrepreneurial journey. Okay, let's look at the first one, which is why should I come up with an idea, or reluctance. I'm going to show you a picture and I'm going to ask you, what do you see? Does anybody know this place? Does anybody know the story behind the picture on the screen? Those of you who have attended the previous session, you can maybe not share your responses and just listen to others, encourage them to think. Or even if you don't know what the picture is about, that's absolutely okay. What do you see in this picture? What can you see?
Desert.
Okay, like a deserted type of a land. Okay, what else? What is that structure in the middle?
Water flow.
So
Okay,
do
the
we
water
see
is also
anything
flowing.
odd about this picture? Do we see anything different about this picture?
Or out of place? Do you feel like it's normal? There's something wrong? Anything is out of place in this picture?
The bridge is not over the water, but it's on the land.
Absolutely. Now, do you think somebody would actually build it like that in the first place? Right? Akansha also says the bridge is out of place. Nobody would do that, right? Nobody would start off by building the bridge on land when the water is flowing somewhere else. So this is a picture of a place in Central America. Okay, this is the the Choluteca Bridge. And what has happened here is this particular region in Central America would face a lot of hurricanes and a lot of storms. And so they, bought a couple of engineers to design a bridge that is resilient, that would endure these storms, and so that, people could cross over. Now, when this bridge was built, the river was flowing under it. But it just so happened that in the year that this bridge was inaugurated to be used, there was a hurricane Mitch in that area and caused a lot of destruction, lot of loss. Okay. It also changed the entire course of the river that was flowing under it. And as you can see in the picture, the course of the river is different and it's flowing away from the bridge. And since this bridge now serves no purpose, it has been called the bridge that leads to nowhere. It was engineered so well that it could withstand the storm and there was no damage done to it, as you can see in the picture. But why am I talking to you about this bridge? Why do you think I'm talking to you about this bridge? Sometimes in life, we may have the best idea. We may think that we'll build something that is strong, something that's resilient, something that no one can beat. And we'll build it with such perfection, but we don't take into account the fact that our ideas, our services, whatever it is that we're designing or coming up with, needs to be flexible enough to accommodate change. One thing that we know is constant in life is change. And life throws situations at us. Life is constantly changing at a pace that is not in our control. And sometimes, if we do not change with the changing times, we will become like this bridge, which is irrelevant right now because it's not serving its adequate purpose. So even before you begin on this journey, you need to understand that it's important to be flexible because life will constantly throw changes at us. And even in your entrepreneurial journey, you will encounter a lot of change. And you've got to be flexible to accommodate those changes in order to be relevant in your field and in what you do. So we're still talking about the first reaction, which is reluctance. Why should I even come up with an idea? You should, because when you come up with an idea, you're bringing about some sort of change and you are creating something out of the opportunity and the chaos that you have around you. I'm going to show you another picture. In this picture, you will see a little cartoon character that has climbed up on a ladder, okay, and is stuck. What should this cartoon character ideally do, or what is happening in this picture? Yes, any one person can quickly respond and then we'll move ahead.
Trying to hold the another.
Correct. Okay, so from here, you know that the cartoon character can do two things. One is they can give up. They can go back down and say, okay, this ladder, is broken. I can't do anything. Or they can take a leap of faith. They can jump and grab new opportunities their way so that they can climb higher and that can lead to growth. Change is like this in our life, right? It is an abrupt shift that comes our way. But what we do in this position when we are in the position of transition and an abrupt shift will determine everything. Okay, your ideas, next slide, your ideas are exactly like that. They help with, help the society embrace this change and to grow and to advance in whatever it is that we're doing. So the first reaction, why should I come up with an idea? The reason you should is because we need to embrace change. We need to bring about changes in our society. We cannot be complacent with where we are at, right? That's why all of you, if you think about your ideas or what you've shared also with me, what Rashmi shared with me, what Swati shared with me, it's just telling me a glimpse about how you actually want to do something to bring about some improvement around you, right? And that's good because that's change and that's leading to growth. If we just keep on doing what everybody else is doing, we're not going to get any new results. Because currently in the world, everyone is just following another. But we can actually be change makers, change bringers, right? In order that our society sees growth and sees development. Next. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get only what you've always got. And which is why reluctance is futile when you can actually bring about a change. Yeah, next slide. Let's talk about the second thing, which is self-doubt. Okay, self-doubt makes us question, am I really capable of coming up with an idea? So many of us normally think, this is not for me. Maybe to come up with an idea is for somebody else, somebody who's richer, somebody who's more intelligent, somebody who's more creative. How many of us have had this thought? Yeah, Kanika, you can move to the next slide. How many of us have had this thought where we have felt, this is not for me. This is for somebody else who's bolder, who's braver, who has more resources. This is for them. Like a quick yes or no, if we've had this thought.
Yes, I have had the thought many a times.
Which is very normal, right? We always think about, if I need an idea, I need so much of money. I need this ability. I need to know, need to have a lot of knowledge around this field. And so maybe this is not for me because I'm not capable of it, right? So we have already nullified and cancelled reluctance, correct? We realize that it's important that we embrace change. Now let's cancel and nullify self-doubt. Okay, let's look at how each of us is actually capable from within us to come up with an idea. And so I'm going to start by asking you a question, which is a silly question, which is anyone here, born with just half a brain or just half your brain is functioning? Anybody here has a doubt that, only half their brain is functioning?
No.
Yes, no? No, right? We both have two halves. We all have two halves of our brain. And one part of our brain is the analytical, logical part of our brain, which we mostly use and we mostly exercise because in our academics, growing up with education in life, we need a lot of calculation, we need a lot of language. So we use that part of our brain a lot. But the right side of our brain, which is the creative part of our brain, we do not exercise it as much because in the kind of education system we grow up with, that is not really stimulated as much. But nonetheless, both parts of our brain are definitely functional and play a key role in who we are. And so coming up with an idea is definitely the creative part of our brain that is at work. Being creative, or this creative side of our brain, has nothing to do only with just art and craft and being artistic, but it's all about just thinking differently. Creativity is nothing but thinking differently, seeing things uniquely and in a manner and through a lens that nobody else is looking at it. So when we doubt ourselves in terms of, am I really capable of this? Of course you're capable, because you're not only analytical, but you are creative. And it all that you need now is to exercise this right side of your brain to think differently, to think creatively, provoke it to actually look for opportunities and to look for change. Okay, can we have the next slide? Okay, we can stop at that. Yes. Another thing why we constantly get stuck in the cycle of self-doubt, am I really capable, is because we are so consumed with, I need to come up with a good idea. I need to come up with a brilliant idea. How many of you have this thought first? Yes, no, quick yes or no?
Yes.
Right? All of us don't want to come up with a mediocre idea. We want to come up with a brilliant, mind-blowing idea. And so what happens is, just the thought of, I need to come up with a great idea, creates a lot of pressure within us and creates a sense of, am I really good at it? Am I really capable? Okay. But the true journey or the true process of building an idea does not really start with an idea. Okay. It doesn't at all start with an idea. It actually starts with a problem. Let's say I design goggles, okay, goggles that glow in the dark. But when I put them on, I can't see anything else. It's just that when it's on, these goggles will glow in the dark. How many of you will buy that product from me? Yes, how many of you will buy that product from me? Silence means all will buy the product. Now, is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, but I think it's a lovely product. Why won't you buy it from me?
Because I can't see when I'm wearing it and I don't want to be blind.
Okay, what else? What else? Why else? I heard so many people saying no.
Is not solving the purpose of goggles. Like,
absolutely correct. Now, when I'm buying this product, in my eyes, it may be brilliant. I may think that, wow, this is such a lovely product, it's going to glow in the dark. But is it solving any problem? Is it helping you in any way? It's not helping you in any way. It's not even solving any problem. And so, though we may come up with, in our eyes, a great idea, we need to check if this product of ours has any benefit to people. Is it solving a real problem in society? Because if it is not solving a real problem in society, there is no point of that idea. You will not have a market for that idea. So even in our journey of, when we question ourselves, am I really capable? Let's stop starting with an idea. Let's actually focus on identifying problems around us. How can we do that? How can we identify problems around us? Is by simply empathizing with people. I'm going to give you 6 points next, but let me complete this first. We will be able to come up with an idea when we feel the problem of another, when we empathize with people going through that specific problem. This empathy is going to give us certain insights. Okay, it's going to give us certain ideas. It's going to bring us to certain solutions eventually. Okay, so empathy, when we empathize around us with the people going through certain problems, that's going to give us some insight and it's going to lead us to a solution. So the true journey of building an idea starts with a problem, starts with identifying a problem, starts with having a mindset of, I want to solve somebody's problem. And this is the process of idea generation: empathy, insights, and your solution. Does this make sense? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 6 very simple Avengers, okay, or 6 very simple points, again, that will help you identify a problem. Okay. So let's look at the first one. The first one is observation. These are very simple points, but when you put them into practice, you will see how relevant they are. We are surrounded by problems all around you, okay, all around us. If we just stop to look around us and observe what are the things that people struggle with, what are the inconveniences that they face, okay, we will be able to identify hundreds of problems. So one very important thing is to look around us, to pay attention to what is it that people are going through, what are they struggling with. The next one, listening. Okay, sometimes when people use a product or use a service or use something similar on the lines of what you're developing or designing, pay attention to the feedback of people, pay attention to the complaints people are having about similar products in the market, pay attention to what is it that they're saying, what do they want, what are the changes that they would need to it. Pay close attention to these things, because these then become points that you can use and incorporate in your idea. Next, we have curiosity. Always be curious about your options. See, the fear, self-doubt actually, and the fear of failure keeps us from even questioning. We even stop questioning because we fear embarrassment. We feel like, okay, If I ask a stupid question, then people are just going to assume I'm not smart enough. I can't afford to be stupid. But being curious is actually going to lead you to your solution. There's no such thing as being stupid. There's no such thing as a silly question. You need to be curious about what are your options out there. What are all the solutions that exist? How can I change them? Be curious about your world around you. Ask a lot of questions. Empathize with the people around you as well. Step into the shoes of the people facing that problem. Understand for yourself what are the struggles that they're facing. How can I make these changes? Next. And the last 2 points is, one is imagining and the 6th one is creating. Okay, after you have observed, listened, after you're curious about what exists and the changes that you'd like to make, after you have empathized, now you have to begin imagining and envisioning the product. How would you want it with all of these factors? And finally begin your journey of creating. Okay, these are 6 main Avengers or 6 main tools in your journey of coming up with an idea or identifying a problem. And so self-doubt is something that you should definitely reject, because the power of creation is within you. Your ability to observe, your ability to listen, your ability to be creative, all these things come from within you, right? Nobody has to teach you how to observe. You already know how to do this. Plus, creativity is already inside of you. You have to do nothing but embrace the ability and the power of creation that is already in you. Let's look at the last reaction, which is the fear of failure. Okay, why do most of us fear failure? Yes, why do we fear failure? But we love success, but we fear failure, we hate failure, we're very sad when we fail. Why?
Failure is the ladder for success. Otherwise, yes, failure is not a fatal, it's a learning.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
Learning. And
Awesome.
failure is a ladder of success. If you fail, then one day you will be successful.
Awesome. That's very true. But still, on this journey, there are many who still fear failure. Why do you think people fear failure? Yes? Why do you think people fear failure? There are definitely some of us that use failure to our advantage, which we should use. But how many of you have at some point in your life have feared failure?
Due to rejection.
Absolutely. We fear failure because of the risk of rejection, right? Nobody wants to be rejected and left out or isolated or feel like they were not good enough, right? So the biggest risk a creator faces or an entrepreneur faces is the risk of rejection. The feeling of, okay, nobody values my solution. Nobody values what I've said. Nobody values what I've put out there, right? So the risk of rejection is the biggest risk they suffer. Let's also see how we can solve this problem. Normally, in our journey of creating something, we'll sit by ourselves, we'll create a product, okay, and we'll go and we'll give it to the user. The user will then say, oh, I don't have any need for this product. They'll give it back to the creator. The creator will make some change, again give it to the user. The user will say, I don't like this product as well. Okay, just like my goggles that I created. It's a fluorescent goggles. I create it, I give it to my user. You are my users. You said, I don't want to buy this. It's not serving me any purpose. I take the goggles back. What I do is I paint it in a pink color and I give it back to you. You're saying it still doesn't serve me any purpose. I don't want these goggles, right? So rejection happens when I'm doing this all by myself. But there is another solution, which is something called co-creation. If the creator sits with the user, if I sit with you, take these goggles and you say, this is rubbish, this I have no, this does not serve me any purpose. And I say, okay, how would you like these goggles to look? What purpose would you like these goggles to solve or, or serve you? And if you tell me, see, firstly, I can't see in the dark, but if they glow in the dark and I'm able to see as well, this would be helpful for me. Plus, if it's something that can have an additional light attached to it, maybe it would be beneficial for me. So I can take the same goggles, which did not serve my user any purpose earlier. I can go back, I can redesign it, because now I have understood the problem. I can go redesign it and bring it back to you, and you'll say, wow, this is good now. This is serving some purpose, because it's not like I'm blind in the night. I can at least see, and there's additional light. Plus, these goggles glow in the dark. So there's an additional, just like a glam feature to these goggles as well. Now, will you buy my product after I have spoken to you and taken your feedback? Definitely yes, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Definitely, because you have given me feedback for why this is not good enough, and I have taken your feedback. I have understood the real problem. I've understood your needs, and I have gone and created a product. So now I'm not only solving somebody's problem alone, but I'm co-creating. I'm going with to my users, understanding from them, what is it that you'd like? How can I make these changes? This is a service I'm offering. Is this something that you would like? Is this something that would be helpful to you? How can I best serve you? When they give you feedback, when you understand their problem, you can create a solution along with your user, and that automatically nullifies the risk of rejection, because they will definitely accept what you are giving them. And so embrace the power of co-creation. Some of you shared lovely ideas at the start of this session with me about what you're planning on doing. Identify your users, speak to them, understand what are their needs, and see how you can incorporate that in the service or the product that you want to offer. Because the power of co-creation is great, and it will actually make your solution even more relevant to your clients or to your customers. Okay, moving on. Let's come to entrepreneurship and understanding this. I remember at the start when I asked you, someone said that what keeps us from doing it is also resources. We feel like we do not have the expertise and we do not have the resources. And some of you also gave me lovely, ideas about who is an entrepreneur and what is entrepreneurship. Let's look at it. Let's look at it so that it can give us clarity. The notion is that we have to have money, we have to have all the knowledge in the world to be able to be entrepreneurs, but that's not true. Entrepreneurship is nothing but pursuing opportunities beyond resources. Okay, actually going after problems that exist even beyond the resources, because financial help will always come. You will always have someone to help you with finances. You'll have organizations that can help you with finances. The key thing is to identify a problem and embark on that journey, even beyond the resources. The resources will eventually come. And this was a definition by a professor, Howard Stevenson, from the Harvard Business School, which is the pursuit of opportunities beyond resources control. So don't let resources be a limitation. There'll always be ways to work around it. Don't let lack of knowledge be a limitation. There'll always be ways that you can learn and gain expertise. Okay, but remember that this is what entrepreneurship is. It's a mindset. It's not a job. It's not a career. It's a perspective that you have, your ability to look at problems and situations differently. That is what makes you different from another person. Yeah, it's all about your belief that you can. I believe you can. And I know that there are a lot of confident women on this call as well, because you already come in with ideas. Okay, so don't stop believing that you can, and you already know now the abilities within you to come up with an idea. Next. Now that we've spoken about why should I come up with an idea, that's clear, right? You know that you've got to embrace change, you've got to bring about changes. I'm sure why you should come up with an idea is very clear, and how important a role all of you are already playing. Yes? Yes, ladies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we will look at how should I come up with an idea. Okay. This is a very interesting segment. Okay. We're going to look at okay, I know why to come up with an idea. Let me understand how should I come up with an idea. Okay, how to build an idea that will drive a change. And we're going to do this through two approaches. I'm going to give you two breakthrough approaches, okay, to help you understand this. Because often we have a notion that in this journey of coming up with an idea, I need to come up with something that does not exist. I need to come up with something brand new. But that's not at all the case, because in the world we are living in, most of the things have been invented, right? Everything we need is actually invented. But are all the products and services available to us perfect and serving us well? Not really. They can always be innovated and transformed. And so, coming up with an idea, it's not about discovering new things which others have not seen. It's about thinking and seeing the same things differently. Okay, it's an ability to think differently about something which everybody sees every time. Okay, next slide. I'm going to take you through two breakthrough approaches. We're going to do it very creatively. Okay, the first one is going to be in the form of a mystery that you're going to help me solve. How many of us love solving mysteries or watching mysteries? How many of us watch Crime Patrol, and how many of us watch Savdhan India, and how many of us, love watching all of these things that make us sit at the edge of our seat? Or thrillers, crime thrillers, murder mysteries. How many of us love doing that? There's too much silence. I feel like y'all don't like all of these exciting things don't excite you. Yeah. How many of you actually enjoy thrillers? Yeah, I know Pallavi enjoys it. Okay, Swati also enjoys it. Okay, awesome. I also thoroughly enjoy all of this. So this is a similar mystery, okay? And you have got to help me solve it. All ready? Ready to solve this mystery with me? Yes, I need you to unmute and say yes.
Yes.
I'm tired of reading messages.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Okay. So it was a very stormy, breezy Sunday afternoon. Leila and Majnu were found dead on the 22nd floor of a high-rise building. Only three things were known to us. There were pieces of glass fallen on the floor, there was water on the floor, and the window was open. You have to help me solve this mystery and tell me, how did Leila and Majnu die? Okay. Now, how you're going to help me solve this mystery is you are going to ask me questions, but only yes, no type of questions. Okay. Like, for example, let me give you an example of a yes and no question. If you say, were the curtains red? I'll say yes, or I'll say no, right? Don't ask me open-ended questions. The mystery is clear? Yes?
You have to repeat the thing.
Okay, I'll repeat it again. It was a stormy, breezy Sunday afternoon. Leila and Majnu were found dead on the 22nd floor of a high-rise building. Only three things were known: that there were pieces of glass fallen on the floor, there was water on the floor, and the window was open. So you have to tell me, how did Leila and Majnu die? You can start by asking me your question. Come on, you've got to think a lot and you've got to ask me a
Were
question.
they shot dead?
No. Good question.
From the
Interesting.
window.
Sorry, someone what from the window?
Someone entered from the window.
No.
Ma'am,
Yes.
since you mentioned it was a stormy season, so maybe because of the some glasses, anything made up of glass, be it a flower pot or a glasses or anything, that maybe they must have bombarded with the wall or any surface, they must have broken because of the wind. Maybe they must have bombarded again with the couple, and they must have got hit because of the broken glass pieces.
But then what is your question? Did they get hit by the glass piece?
Yes.
No.
Okay, ma'am.
Think, but I love that you all are thinking. So that's amazing. Think.
And were they electrocuted?
No. Awesome questions, but very interesting. I can tell all you women watch lots of mysteries and thrillers. Okay, think. I'm sure you have more questions as you think.
They killed each other.
No.
Rashmi ma'am watches the best thrillers.
Best ones, yes. And I think you're reading some lovely books also. All little Sherlock Holmes here. Oh, awesome, Aishwarya. That's so good to know that you write scripts. That's lovely.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
That's why you were able to come up with a little story so quickly. That's great.
Yes.
And I think Aishwarya was pretty, close to what the solution is.
Yeah, pretty close, thinking well as well. But let's see what the whole truth is.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Think. Yeah, what else? What else could have happened?
Did they slip?
No.
Have they consumed poison?
No. Now this is turning into a serial.
Ma'am, was it a rainy season?
Yes, it was raining outside. It was stormy, windy.
Okay.
Anything else? Come on, I'm going to give you 1 minute more to think.
Water was there on the floor, you were saying?
Pieces of glass and some
And
water.
Water.
Yes. Yeah, Pallavi knows the answer, but Pallavi has been bound to not speak. Come on, one more response we'll take and then I'll help you out.
You can just give them a hint, Lisha.
Okay, so Kanika, I never really said that Leela and Majnu were human beings. But how many of you assumed Leela and Majnu were human beings?
We all, ma'am. We all
Yeah,
assume.
we all.
We all assumed, right?
Yes.
That's what we thought about. Did they kill each other? Did they have poison? Did they have anything? Okay, now that I've given you a hint that Leela and Majnu are not human beings, can you try solving the mystery? Who could they have been?
They were birds,
No, but
like the window was, they just smashed in the window. They tried to come inside and the window, that glass was broken and they got hurt with that glass when they entered.
okay, close, but they were not birds. Leela
they
and Majnu
plants?
were, sorry?
Were they plants?
No, they were not plants.
Were
They
they
were
glasses?
fishes. They were fishes. Okay. So what happened was Leela and Majnu were two fishes that were in a glass bowl on a table. And because it was a breezy, stormy Sunday afternoon, the window flung open. Okay. With the wind, the glass bowl which was on the table fell on the floor and Leela and Majnu died. And that's why there were pieces of glass on the floor and water and Leela and Majnu's dead bodies on the floor. Okay. So when we went through this mystery, one thing that all of us did was assume that Leela and Majnu were human beings, right? And that is because we attribute names like this to human beings only. We don't tend to think that, oh, this could be another creature, this could be another living organism, right? And through this mystery, what we actually learn is We shouldn't always go by what we know or what we've learned or our perception all the time, but we need to challenge what seems to be obvious to us. Same with the problems around us. Okay, we need to not always take things at face value or be comfortable with what exists, but learn to challenge what is obvious to our eyes. Was this a good exercise? Did you like it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
This is an important tool even in your journey of ideation. Okay, challenging the obvious. If you don't challenge the obvious, you will only be seeing what everybody else is seeing. But the moment you see how the 6 Avengers also apply here, observe, listen, be curious, ask crazy questions, ask weird questions, so that you're actually challenging the obvious that can bring about a solution. If we had more time, I would have spent more time on this activity until you yourself came to it. But challenging the obvious is the first breakthrough approach. Let's look at some examples or pictures of problems that exist, but none of us have really stopped to wonder and think about, oh yes, this is an inconvenience, this needs a solution. All of us have this switchboard in our homes.
Yes.
Right? All of us have these switchboards. How many of us, when we go to a new home, struggle with the, knowing which is the light button, which is the fan button? We keep on putting one off, putting it, on, off to figure out which is the light switch and the fan switch. Do we all do this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Right? That's a problem, correct? But we need to sometimes look at these same problems around us and simplify it. Maybe we can solve this problem by right now, maybe you'll tell me, Alexa, something that uses AI to solve this problem of switches and fans and lights. Because mostly people will color the switches, or they will put an L or a F. But that's also not the best solution, because what if somebody is blind and they can't see, or somebody can see but they can't read? It's not a good enough solution, right? So for everyday problems, we need to learn to challenge the obvious to come up with a solution. Next, I'll show you some more pictures. This is another problem of the mixer. When we're studying or we're working, this mixer makes an irritating sound, correct? Can we fix this problem? Is also another thing we have to think about. What can we do? Can we draw inspiration from other products? Can we have soundproof walls, a mixer that cancels out noise, like we have noise cancelling earphones? Can we come up with something? Because these are problems that we face every day, right? Another one is shoes that babies wear, and they outgrow those shoes so quickly because babies' feet grow quickly. Can we have the next picture? Okay, this is another problem, but we just take it at face value, because it's something that's very normal. But this is another everyday minor problem that again can be challenged and can be fixed. And if you fix this, it's another market that you will only create, or it is a new entrepreneurial idea in itself. Okay, next. How many of us have experienced this when we're out with our family or our friends? And we're talking and we want to enjoy the ice cream and the conversation, but we're in such a hurry because our ice cream is melting, so we'll keep licking it quickly and we can't even enjoy the conversation. This may seem like a minor problem, but we can create something, create a product, or create a design the experience of having an ice cream differently, right? So challenge the obvious. Look at problems like this around you. These are, of course, minor, simple ones, but identify problems and inconveniences around you, and this will lead you to solutions. And the next approach is finding the common in the uncommon, okay, or connecting the dots. Now, I've given you two products on the screen, a shoe and a pencil. Using inspiration from the shoe, how can you improve your experience of writing? When we write with a pencil, what is one problem that we face? What is one main problem that we face when we're writing with a pencil?
The lead of the pencil is either too sharp or too blunt.
Okay, what else do we face?
The grip, it's very rough. That's
okay, the grip. Exactly. Okay, the grip sometimes is very rough. Let's go with grip. How can I draw inspiration with the from the shoe to innovate my pencil? Yes?
We could use the rubber on the side so that it enhances the grip of the pencil.
Okay, but how can I draw inspiration from the shoe? How can I use something, some idea or some aspect of the shoe to improve my experience of writing?
As the shoelaces tighten the shoes of the sizes, so you might can use something in a pencil which can tighten our grip also.
Okay, or do you know that when you write, it also hurts your finger when you write fast or you write for a long time. So if there is some sort of cushioning around the pencil when you're holding it and better grip, won't that improve your experience of writing? Right? And so we can draw inspiration in this case from the sole of the shoe and the cushioning that the sole of the shoe provides, because without that sole, your ability to walk will be very painful, right? So similarly, we can draw inspiration from other products, find the common thing into uncommon things, and draw inspiration to come up with your own innovative ideas. So the second breakthrough approach is connecting the dots. Okay, so we've come to the end of the second segment, which is how should I come up with an idea. Two main ways you can come up with an idea is challenge the obvious, learn to challenge the obvious, and second is learn to connect the dots. Look for inspiration in things all around you so that you can incorporate those ideas into your product and into your service. And with that, we'll come to the last segment for today's session, which is what should I do? Okay, in this idea building journey, finally, what should I do? We'll end after we're done with this segment on an interesting note, because you will at least learn how to identify problems. Now, let's answer this question. I know we have already answered it a little. Is idea the starting point? Do we begin the journey of ideation with an idea? Yes or no? A quick yes or no?
No.
No, right? What do we begin with?
Problem.
Absolutely. We don't start the journey of ideation with a brilliant idea. We start by identifying the problem. So I'm going to show you a picture on the screen, and you're going to help me solve this problem. Okay. In the picture on the screen, do you see a problem? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
What's the problem?
One person can't see the game.
Okay. Because he's shorter and he can't see the gate. How will I solve this problem?
By taking one stool from the man who's
Okay.
tall enough to see it and putting it there.
Absolutely. Okay. And that's the first way to solve the problem. Or the traditional problem solving method is that you take the stool from the taller guy and give it to the guy who's short, so that he can see better. Okay. Now, now when we look at this, okay, it may seem like the problem is solved. But can you imagine these people just standing like that for such a long time, for an hour at a stretch till the game is over? Is that a pleasurable experience? Is that really solving the problem? Because from what you all have identified, you're saying height is the problem, correct? Yes, no?
Made up of glass.
Yeah. So from what we have already said is we've given the small, shorter boy a box because we've said, okay, height is the problem. He cannot see. Correct. But in the picture, what is the real problem? I know you already had a hint to the solution, but what is the real problem? Is height the problem in the picture? Or is there something else that is the real problem? What's the real problem in this picture?
The look through or the view to the game.
Sorry, the
Look through or the view to the game.
Okay, the thing that is blocking their view, right? That is the problem, not height, not the fact that, you know, they have to stand for so long, because the wall that is blocking them is the real problem. And so maybe we can have a mesh. Okay, we can have a mesh, or we can have a see-through wall that can actually help them with this problem. Through this, we learn that if we do not identify the problem correctly, we will keep coming up with solutions, but that's not at all going to be helpful to us. But the moment we identify the problem in a manner that is correct and accurate, we'll come down also to a perfect, effective solution. Okay, next slide. So in our entrepreneurial journey of coming up with an idea, okay, it's very important to spend a lot of time in identifying the problem correctly. Just like Einstein says here, you know, if he had 1 hour to solve a problem, he would spend 55 minutes only thinking about the problem, and he would spend only 5 minutes thinking about the solution. Because the more time you spend trying to empathize, trying to understand what is the problem I'm facing, what can I do about it, that will automatically lead you to your solution. Next, you will see that the process, I'm just reminding you that the process of building an idea doesn't start with an idea, but starts with a problem. When you empathize, it will lead you to insights, and it will finally lead you to your idea and your solution. I'm going to quickly show you certain pictures on the screen of certain products, okay? And how people took time to understand the problem, and which led them to solutions and made things more user friendly. On the screen, you'll be able to see pictures of a mouse that was used, and how it has changed over time, only because from the traditional mouse that was being used, people realized, okay, it's not very convenient. Can we improve this? Can we improve this further? Can we innovate this further? And this is how computers and the mouse became more user centric. That's what our focus should also be, to make products more user centric. Yeah. Next. This is an MRI machine. Okay. Kids don't really like MRI machines. For that matter, nobody likes MRI machines. But let's look at kids here. Why do you think kids hate MRI machines? Yeah. Why do you think kids don't like the experience of going through an MRI machine?
Because it's something new and it can be seen as danger to them.
Okay, for them it's dangerous. For them, they are already unwell. They don't know what is going through their bodies. They don't know what is this machine they're going through. It's an anxiety provoking experience. You know, sometimes it has like this, you know, you're going through like, you know, like something that is a closed, enclosed space, which is not very comfortable for them. Plus it makes a loud sound. Okay. So it's not an experience that kids like. So what a lot of researchers did is they said, okay, since kids are our users, let's ask them how would they like this machine to be designed. We'll understand it from their point of view. And so children began drawing sketches and pictures of what they wanted it to look like. Lots of creative images, lots of creative sketches. And taking all of that into mind, there are places that have designed the MRI scanned rooms and machines to look like this. I will show it to you on the screen. Isn't this so much more beautiful? It looks like you're in a play zone, right? This doesn't even look like an MRI machine. But these are MRI machines that kids actually love, because they don't feel like they're entering into a scary space, but they feel like they're entering into an adventure zone. They feel like, okay, this is an experience, you know, where I'm going through the forest, or I'm a pirate and I'm going through a tunnel and a cave in the ocean. And the sounds are nothing but aspects of that scene and that scenery, which is, you know, a part of them, part of that experience. And so the anxiety is naturally taken care of, and the scan is also done. This is again an example of co-creation and an example of how you take feedback from the children, you identify the root cause of the problem. The problem is not the MRI machine, the problem is the room, what it looks like, and the fear attached to it. So if they tackle the problem of the fear and what the room looks like,
இந்த
it's
entrepreneur
perfect.
session மிஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன்
It's
4:30
perfect.
மணிக்கு.
Yeah.
ஒரு சொல்யூஷன்,
Can
ஒரு
we mute
ப்ராப்ளம்
ourselves,
எடுத்துட்டு
please? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next. This is another example of dusters. We can have all the images up. Initially, a traditional duster was just a slab of wood and a sponge. But all those, I know there are a few teachers on this call. As teachers, we know when we go to erase the board, right? We'll have a lot of chalk dust, the dusters falling off, hurting ourselves as well. The grip is not so good. So over time, we see how even the look of the duster has changed, and even the function of the duster has changed. From now, being a normal chalkboard duster to having dusters for whiteboards and dusters with slots even for markers. This is how even dusters have evolved depending on the changing needs of their users. So always keep the user in mind. Always remember what is the problem and identify the problem correctly to change and modify your product. Next. This is again something that I want to remind you. We would love to come up with a brilliant solution and a creative solution. But our ability to think of a creative solution is the second most important step. The first most important thing is to identify what is the real problem. Which problem are we solving? That's the first thing to be identified. So spend time on understanding what problem I am solving, because that is what is going to lead you to your solution. Next. This is again a picture on the screen. Okay. What do you see in this picture? Since we are talking about identifying a problem accurately, let's talk about it a little more, and let's do it with the use of a photograph or a picture. And you tell me, what do you see on the screen?
Clothes.
The clothes kept for drying are way too on a height.
Yeah, but
Okay.
now it's changed. You can pull it down and you can hang the clothes and it will get back.
Okay. So I want to only know what all of you are seeing. So maybe somebody is putting clothes up, they're trying to hang it or they're struggling with it. Okay, what else? Yes, what else? What else can you all see? Look at the surrounding area, look at everything that you're seeing and tell me, what are you able to see?
It's on the outside, so the water from the clothes can also fall on the people who are going.
Okay. If it's drying on the clothes up, the water is dripping on the people. Okay, it may be an inconvenience to pedestrians who are walking around. You can see somebody walking around there as well. Awesome. What else? What else? What else are you able to observe? Even the tiny details, the building, what does the building and the area tell you about what you can see?
I think it's some construction area, and that bamboos which are used for construction, they have hanged their.
Correct. Okay, seems like a place that's under construction. Okay. We also have a response from Swati. She's saying you can see that there is space constraint. Okay. Do they look like Indians?
No.
They also don't look like Indians to us. Okay. What else can you, what other conclusions can you draw from this picture? Anything else? So now we have gathered so much information about this picture, that this person is drying clothes, that they're struggling to dry clothes. This setting may not be in India. The area seems like, some place that's under construction. There are space restraints and all of these things. How many of us have actually spoken to that person to understand what he's doing and what's happening in the scene? None of us, correct? But we have drawn so many conclusions and observations by just looking at the picture. This can also serve as 3 blocks okay, or bottlenecks in identifying a problem. In our journey of trying to identify a problem, we'll often use our knowledge, our experiences, and our perceptions, which is great. It's great to use our knowledge, our experience, and our perception because it gives us an idea of what is happening. But without involving our user, okay, without actually questioning our user, kind of asking them what is it that they need, what is it that they're going through, our knowledge, experience, and perception will only give us an incomplete image. And so these can become 3 bottlenecks where we get stuck when we're identifying a problem, because we're trying to do it on our own, based on our own knowledge, our own experience, and our own perception. And we are not taking their knowledge, their experience, and their perception into account. So we need to be mindful of this. Next. I'm going to give you some statements, okay, and I'm going to teach you one new technique since we're talking about identifying problems. Can you read all these sentences on the screen? There are things like there's no clean water to drink, people lack discipline and put garbage on the street, okay, there is a lot of illiteracy among women in rural India. These are all sentences. According to you, are these problem statements? Are these problem statements, or do these sound more like complaints?
These look like conclusions, complaints.
Complaints, right? Or they're issues. So these are not problem statements. The reason I'm telling you this is when you're coming up with your own problem statement or you're identifying with a problem, the reason these sentences are not problem statements is because they are very vague, right? Let's take the first one. There is no clean water to drink. This is a very vague statement. I don't know who does not have clean water, where there is no clean water to drink, who are the people that I'm catering to, right? Is it specific? It's not specific. It's just a general complaint. And that is why these are not problem statements. Okay, next slide. Let's understand how to create a problem statement or how to come up with the root cause of the problem. There's this technique called 5 whys, okay, where we ask 5 whys to the same sentence or the same complaint in order that we can come down to a problem statement or the root cause of the problem. So far, are we clear with everything? Yes?
Yes.
So let's practice this. Okay, let's look at the same statements and practice this. We're going to ask 5 whys to identify the problem correctly, to come down to the root cause of the problem. Okay, next. Yeah. Let's take there is a lot of illiteracy among women in rural India. And let's start asking why. So there is a lot of illiteracy among women in rural India. Why? Can you give me responses? Why is there a lot of
access to schools?
Okay, they don't have access to schools. Why?
Infrastructure issues.
Like what? Like what do you mean?
Like it's very difficult to set up schools in every area.
Okay, why?
And there is a gender bias in the work. Like women needn't have literacy.
Okay, so now wait. So what we'll do is we will tackle the gender bias thing separately. We will complete this why first, because then they become 2 different ones. Okay, so we'll complete the infrastructure one and then we'll come to gender bias. So if you're saying there's no infrastructure, okay, why? What did you say? It's not easy to set it up in all areas. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, why? Why?
Too much money involved, capital intensive.
Too much, so that's not a problem, or money or resources are not being delegated properly. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, Now, if I ask you why again, you'll come up with another statement. Now, what started off with, there's a lot of illiteracy among women in rural India. The problem is not illiteracy. The problem is resources are not being delegated properly and funds are not reaching all the areas required to build infrastructure or raise infrastructure to educate them. Correct?
Yes.
Right? So what started off as looking at, oh, the illiteracy is an issue. Illiteracy is not an issue. The root of the problem is that resources are not being delegated correctly to be able to educate women in India, right? So then your problem statement becomes correct delegation of resources, or how to manage the problem of delegation of resources to, kind of build whatever educational institutes, to promote literacy. Are you understanding?
Yes.
Okay, now let's look at gender bias. Yes, one of you said, okay, there's a lot of illiteracy among women in rural India because there's a gender bias, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Why is there a gender bias?
Because our social setup believes like women needn't have education to carry on their life.
Okay, why does our society believe that women don't need education?
Because we see them as a workforce. We don't see them as a workforce for earning money. They are the workforce for looking after the family.
Okay, why?
Lack of awareness.
Correct. Okay, we can come down to lack of awareness. Now, this is another set of causes to the same problem. So what again here seems like illiteracy is the issue. The real issue is lack of awareness, because people have been doing something from years, believing that this is the traditional role or whatever, and as a result there is illiteracy among the population. So just like that, when we apply this principle of asking 5 whys, it takes us to the real root cause of the problem and helps us to solve the problem correctly. Okay. Now, again, there are multiple ways of looking at the problem, which is great that you all are looking at it differently. Okay. And so this is what's going to help you define the problem correctly. Just like that, on your own, after the session ends, you can ask 5 whys or keep asking why until you get to the real root cause of the problem. Is this tool making sense to you all?
Yes.
So even in your own journey, when you're developing a product or a service, you may think you're solving one problem, but dig deeper to understand what is the real root cause of that problem. What problem am I really solving? Because that will lead you to a more accurate solution. Like you said, so if the issue of resources delegated properly is dealt with, there will be lesser illiteracy. Or if there is social awareness spread about educating women, there will be lesser illiteracy, right? So we need to ask why to come to the root cause of the problem. Next. It's also important to ask 3 important questions to define the problem correctly. And that is what, why, and who. Okay, can we have the next slide? We're also going to ask what, why, and who. Okay, the what is, what needs am I taking care of? These are the 3 pillars of defining a problem. What are the needs that I am satisfying or providing for? Who is my specific user group? Whose needs am I taking care of? And what insights am I getting through this? Okay, so who is my user? What are my needs and why are my insights? Okay, why am I doing this? Okay, what is the reason for me to educate maybe the women? Okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? What insight am I gaining from this? When you answer these 3 questions, you will actually be defining your problem accurately. Next. We need to answer these 6 questions. Very simple questions that you can also take a screenshot or make a note of. who's facing the problem or who needs the solution, who's my user basically, what are the needs that need to be taken care of, what are they currently using, what is the solution that exists right now, what is the product or the service that already exists right now, what are the limitations of that, okay, what solution can I provide, so why does it need a solution, what are the insights. Answer these questions and you will have a clear picture of your idea and your what problem you are solving. Next. The same things will also be in a problem identification sheet, which I will show you later. Another important thing is be very specific about who are your users, okay? Whose problems are you solving? Which age group are they in? Which gender? Where are they from? What is their socioeconomic background, their interests, their social profile? Because all of this you will have to take into account when you are developing or designing a product, okay? Because it will depend on the nature of your user group and who is it that you are actually targeting, okay? So that's another very important thing for you to make note of. Next. This is the sheet that I was telling you about. These are all the 6 questions. Who's facing the problem? What needs to be addressed? What are they currently using? What is the solution that exists? What is the limitation of that solution? Why should I bring about changes in this product? And write down your insights. Okay, next. We're going to, I'm going to show you this picture and we're going to end this session after I drive a point from this picture. What do you see in this picture very quickly?
Overflow of garbage.
Correct. Okay. If this is a problem, right? Overflowing garbage, can you tell me who are the potential people? Suppose you want to solve this problem of overflow of garbage. Okay. Who are your potential users?
The nearby people who walk through that road.
Awesome. Okay. Pedestrians or the passers-by, they're solving their problem. Anyone else? Anybody else's problem?
The nearby who lives the nearby
Residents.
compound, residents, yeah.
Residents. Who else can be our users if we develop or come up with a solution for this problem?
The corporation, people who clean up this.
Okay, the municipal corporation, definitely. Okay, and our garbage collectors maybe, right? So for one problem only, we can have multiple users and we can focus on even any one user to come up with a solution for it. Okay, so in that sense, suppose let's take residents. If residents, Kanika, you can shift the slides because I will drive down the point, even while you change the slide. So if residents, if you're solving the problem of residents, maybe residents don't know how to segregate the waste. And so they're dumping everything together. Okay. Their need is they don't know how to segregate the waste. We need to teach them how to do it. We need to provide them with a solution of wet waste, dry waste and awareness. Okay. So one of our users could be residents. Like you rightly said, another user could just be the municipal corporation or the people collecting the garbage. That maybe there are lesser garbage bins. Okay. They don't reach on time. And they also, the garbage bins are too far apart from each other. So maybe there can be a tracking system to track when the garbage is overflowing that will notify the municipal authorities and come and collect this overflowing garbage. Next. Maybe the garbage bins are not adequate. We need a mechanism. Okay. And maybe a bigger in size depending on the locality, depending on the number of people living there. Maybe we need to increase the number of bins, okay, because the problem could be if the bins are not adequate. So when we look at this one image or one problem, we'll see how there are multiple ways of defining that problem and there can be multiple users or people whose problems we are solving as well. So in your journey of problem identification, be elaborate, okay, and also be specific about whose problems you're solving and how. Next. So like you only have said, we are solving so many people's problems through this. The travelers, even the traffic police, if they're around that area, the residents, the garbage segregators, the garbage collectors. Next. Being specific about our user groups will actually help. This is again just a little homework for you. The same statements that I spoke about, go back after this session and can you come up with problem statements for them by asking 5 whys. This is just an activity and a little homework that I want to leave you with. You can take a quick screenshot or make a note of them. Okay. Can you define at least 3 problem statements from these complaints by practicing everything that we have done? Empathizing with your user, trying to draw insights, understanding, putting yourself in their shoes, asking 5 whys, thinking out of the box, challenging the obvious, trying to connect the dots. Let me see if you can come up with these problem statements, which I will again ask you about in the next session. Next. Another thing to remember in this journey, which I will also recap for you when we meet next, is when you are solving a problem, understand how important is that problem. Okay, how critical is the problem? How widespread is the problem? How many people are affected by it? And how long will people keep using your solution? Because it has to be an important problem that you are solving and not an irrelevant problem. Remember my goggles that glow in the dark but nobody can see? It's not a critical problem. It's not a widespread problem that I'm solving. And people will not keep coming back. They won't keep coming back for my solution. So I need to ensure that the problem I'm solving is really intense, is really important. Keep these 3 filters in mind when you are embarking on your journey. Okay. Keep the homework in mind as well. Come up with problem statements, ask 5 whys. And let's identify the problem first, because our idea is not the starting point. Identifying a problem is the starting point. Okay. With that, I will stop the session for today. And when we meet next, we're going to ask the last 2 questions, which is how will I do this now finally? And what will I do? I'll also give you a recap and I will talk about the homework that I've given you. Do you have any questions, any doubts that you want to ask me? I'll address it now. Any questions or any doubts? Or was everything clear? Was it helpful?
Yes, I just joined a half an hour back, and it was I really feel I couldn't join the previous 1.5 hours. I have really missed something great, but it was definitely a great intake I have taken during the last half an hour session. Thanks a lot. Yeah,
Thank you. I'm very happy it has helped you.
Ma'am, you can surely join the next Tuesday session to get a gist of what we just shared today. I think that will be really great.
I have added the link, the session link for Friday. So everyone is free to join.
Okay, awesome. I think there's somebody who was asking something as well just now. Any other doubt or clarification or question anybody has, please feel free to ask.
Ma'am, is this the problem statement is this is for the entrepreneurs, right? Suppose if I don't have a product for myself, I'm just reselling the product.
Okay.
So how will these questions defining a problem statement will help me? See, the product is not going to be mine. I'm just going to resell the product.
So then that will, if you're reselling it, then what you're focusing on is, the user's experience. Why should they buy from you when you're reselling a product? Or why should you be making more profit? Then maybe you'll have to focus on that experience. How can you improve their experience and keep them coming back for this product that you're reselling to them, or reselling to them?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So that perspective you can keep in mind.
So it will be like identification of the user base.
Yes. Or how can I improve this experience? How can I keep them coming back?
So we can modify something in the way we sell, and maybe
Absolutely.
yeah. So different
Absolutely.
techniques.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
that's why, Lisha showed you the slide on identifying users. When you know who to sell the product, then it becomes very easy for you to, embark on the forward journey. That's what happens when we know who our users are, right?
So maybe making a difference in the way we sell,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
the way we package things.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So, Mom, I have one more doubt. See, you have asked us to like develop the problem statements, right? Ma'am?
Yes.
And you showed us some of the problem statements slides showing the garbage overflowing.
Yes.
So the statement itself is going to be elaborate. It's not going to be like sentences. It's going to
Correct.
be pages.
It does it so from pages you can concise it. It can be brief, but in your process of identifying it, it might be long when you're only brainstorming, and trying to come to the root.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Okay.
But then when you
Yeah.
finally identify the root, then it will become a statement again to solve
Right.
the issue of so and so in so and so area, for example.
Correct. Correct. So the problem statement might not necessarily be a one-liner, but what Lisha is trying to say is that it can be as concise as possible.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So it should be user centric, particular
Yes.
user. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do we
Ma'am,
have any other questions?
ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, it was a very lovely session. It definitely challenged our creative thinking. So thank you so much. I had a question.
Yes.
Recently I had this entry for a product design competition where I
Okay.
just targeted a simple daily life problem that we use laptop, but whether in an office setup or a home setup, the wires and all, it gets tangled and all, and it's very
Correct.
messy. So my idea was that something, a decorative item on the wall or on the table, or laptop charger, even while in use in and even while not in use. So that way, it will lessen the messy.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Look of the thing. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Correct.
But for that, maybe whatever material I use, maybe wood or acrylic or whatever it is, but that's easy to stay. For any product based business, how to get contacts of the people, or how to find out the information what exactly the material is used and all that.
So what you'll have to do is two things. One is for that particular product, who
Hmm.
are the manufacturers of that product?
Hmm.
You'll have to get in touch and get your information from them. Okay. Second is, who are the users of that product? If you want to understand how can I improve this product, who are the users of that product? What are they satisfied with what exists? What are the difficulties they are facing with the material, with this? Is this the best material for them? What is the texture like? Get all that information. Okay. So you'll have to contact manufacturers and the users of that material. Okay. And when you get your information, all that will help you in understanding, okay, what other material can I use? What else can I do? What changes can I make? But in the coming session, again, we will talk about, certain ideation techniques and what to focus on. But this should be able to solve your problem when this is a research stage. In the coming session, we'll also talk about prototypes. You will have to create something to test it out, like a trial run. So all of that is what you will definitely have to do.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Anyone else has any questions? If not, I'll hand over the session to ma'am Nikita if she's here.
May I ask one thing?
Yes, sure, Pallavi.
Hi. Just want to confirm, what is how the sessions are divided?
So,
Like next
Tuesday,
other
we're going to
sessions,
have
like one is
Yes.
in August.
No, so Pallavi, since you were there for the last two sessions, that is the same session that we're going to have every week. Okay, it's just that we're going to have it in two parts. We're going to have the first part of the session on Tuesday and the second part of the session on Friday. We're going to have the same session every week for different groups. So just making it available because not everyone may be available all the time or at a particular time and date. So we're making these sessions available across weeks.
So at the end, before yesterday, we were discussing about the pitch on about everything. We
Yes.
can pitch on our ideas. And what about that? Can you just let me know about that idea also?
I think that should happen somewhere towards the end of August. But on Friday, when we get back, I will give you all details about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. Ma'am Nikita, I hand over the session to you.
Yeah, guys. So thank you so much for today's session. We will have another session again on Friday, and hope to see you guys there soon. Till then, we shall meet up again soon. Okay. Be ready with your questions or whatever you need to ask, Lisha, and I'm sure she'll be ever willing to help you guys.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
See you all on Friday.
You all.